Vietnam's trade surplus has strengthened and they will be pushed to increase the value of their currency. Their currency just isn't strong enough, which allows them an unfair advantage in international trade. Article: Vietnam's soaring U.S. trade surplus stokes new fears of Trump's tariffs. Will they scale back in trade, or will they raise the value of the dong in comparison with the dollar? Leveling the playing field. They are actively talking about raising the value of their currency. So, what is this dream of Al-Alak? Al-Alak has told us he strongly supports the dinar of the past and will bring it back to its glory days. This is the ultimate goal of all these financial reforms and pillars Iraq keeps talking about. They are all just a means to the end. The end is the reinstatement, a byproduct of all this hard work of financial reforms. You need to understand that what might seem bad is not, that what you might think is a delay is actually a progressive movement. Sudani controls. House of Representatives decide to hold next session next Sunday instead of Saturday, the 12th of August, 2024. They moved it. Why do they keep moving it? Why is it so necessary to do that? New budget amendment and budget, is exchange rate sensitivity in nature. Delete zeros and evaluate the dinar question: how many years would this take? Currency reform is a result of economic growth and diversification. How long it takes is up to Iraq. They're waving the exchange rate right in front of our faces. Everything that they say, do and talk about cannot be at a program rate. The monetary reform is going to get done one way or another. Kurdistan uses the same IQD as Baghdad does: get along or get left behind. A number of my contacts from Iraq that very much believe we will cross the finish line in the next 3 days. We have seen tremendous HCL movement in Iraq. There are many rumors that it has already passed. But I can tell you it was not in the Gazette this morning. In the Islamic world they tend to tell you about things after it is finished. So HCL could be done, just not announced. But the mood is very upbeat in Iraq. There are a number of folks looking at the next 3 days and we are hopeful and praying. People in the streets are saying Sudani had 2 years, and he is not giving us the purchasing power that he promised us. He made a solemn oath to us and now he's saying not in 2 weeks, they won't be completed until the early part of 2025. This is unacceptable. Frank, it's not Sudani that said that. It's this economy idiot, and he doesn't represent Sudani. No one is exchanging at this time and, Guru, Pimpy is correct. There are no 800 numbers, no bonds being paid out, no redemption centers, no meetings in Reno, no appointments, etc. This is all dinar mythology. Gefteris representative, Iraq today is more secure and stable, and its government has succeeded in keeping it away from conflict. Quote, the UN Secretary General's representative in Iraq, Mohammed al-Hassan, said that Iraq today is more secure and stable, and that its government has succeeded in keeping it away from conflict. The financial and banking systems are now in place. Financial transfers are not for just internet transfers, but they're also for international institutions. Read it twice if not 3 times. Believe me? Wow, this is big. This may very well be some form of an announcement like we've never seen before. We might be doing some white knuckling this weekend. I don't know that we've seen information like that coming from the country of Iraq and the United States of America. I don't think anybody's ever seen this. Sudani calling Barzani the leader of a crime family in Kurdistan. Saying Kurds are playing dangerous games. Frank, it is sad that the evil politician of Kurdistan are playing this game. There will always be cockroach in every government nook and cranny. This is their last attempt to stop his monetary and economic reforms. Government spokesman Bassem Alawadi confirmed Friday that the country has not been exposed to a financial or political crisis, and if it were not for the events in Gaza, the situation would have been better. Al-Awadi said in a statement, Iraq was able to overcome the challenges facing the region, and was not exposed to a financial or political crisis, indicating that if it were not for the events in Gaza, our situation would have been better. He added, Iraq does not seek military intervention in Syria, and it supports the unity of Syrian territory and rejects any infringement on its unity or exposing the Syrian people to more suffering and pain. He pointed out that everything that is happening in Syria is linked to Iraqi national security, and that Iraq is working hard to find a balanced political solution to the recent repercussions. He stressed that the division of Syria is a red line for Iraq, indicating that Iraq is still an effective part of the international coalition to defeat ISIS in Syria and Iraq. The Iraqi parliament presidency announced, on Sunday, the postponement of the parliament session due to the lack of the legal quorum required to hold it. This came according to a brief statement received from the parliament's media department. For his part, an informed source told Shafaq news agency, a directive was issued by the leadership of the coordination framework to members of the House of Representatives not to enter the council hall, in a move aimed at preventing voting on the general amnesty law. The source added that the coordination framework representatives boycotted the current session, which caused the legal quorum to not be completed and delayed the convening of today's session. While the debate continues over controversial laws such as the general amnesty, the State of Law Coalition ruled out that these laws would be discussed in the Iraqi parliament session today, Sunday. The coalition's MP, Firas al-Maslamawi, stressed that the absence of political consensus may lead to postponing these discussions until the next legislative session. Deputy Chairman of the Parliamentary Planning Committee, MP Mohammed al-Baldawi, confirmed on Saturday that Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani asked the House of Representatives to proceed with amending the paragraph related to the region. Al-Baldawi said in a statement to Al-Maluma agency, the session hosting the Prime Minister addressed the amendments to the 2025 budget, as al-Sudani asked Parliament to amend Article 12C of the triennial budget law that Parliament voted on last year. He added, the article is related to the region and is summarized in forming specialized committees for the purpose of calculating the oil exported from the region, and deducting it from its share designated in the next budget. He pointed out that the parliamentary committee will discuss the possibility of reconsidering the calculation of the price of a barrel of oil and the exchange rate of the dollar in the next budget. The House of Representatives hosted Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani at his request, where many files were discussed, most notably the developments in Syria and amending the budget law for next year, in addition to other political topics. Iraq announced on Sunday the evacuation of its embassy in Syria, and the transfer of its employees to Lebanon, hours after opposition fighters overthrew President Bashar al-Assad and announced their control over the capital. According to Reuters, Iraq transferred its embassy employees to Lebanon hours after the opposition overthrew Assad and announced their control over the capital. The Iraqi Ministry of Transport and the National Iraqi Airways Company announced the suspension of air services between Baghdad and the Lebanese capital Beirut due to the recent developments in Syria.